Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It is December 27th, 2012 at about 4:15 p.m. here on the East Coast. Get ready to do the video, hopefully using some time-honored techniques to understand these modern markets. Before I do it, I need to remind you that the website and the video are for educational purposes only. Nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I'm not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. It's kind of funny. I mentioned yesterday that hopefully the next couple of days the markets would do us a favor and show us a little something about a clue as to when this downtrend might be over. And we kind of got perhaps everything I was asking for today, with the fairly wide range that the market moved in. We started out with a little bit of just a tiny little upward momentum that quickly gave way to a fairly significant sell-off from the day's highs that were around 1422. We sold all the way down to about 1402, so almost a percent and almost about a 1.4% difference from the early morning high to the midday low. Now, after we made this low, I snapped this line right here. As soon as we bounced up off of that, I said, gee, I wonder, and lo and behold, there we go. No wondering to it anymore. I don't think I had that line on the chart yesterday. Even if I did, it would not have been exactly where it is now. But you can see just how these last three lows lined up. Additionally, let's move this out of the way. I did have a line about like this on the chart, and this is parallel to that lower line, and also takes the highs of the 20th and the highs that actually I think this line was probably a little different, probably more like that. So, to make a long story short, what I'd been looking at in the way of a potential descending channel got a little bit more defined today, and then after it got defined, it decided to break out. Just trying to discover if there's some other things at work here. I also drew a little line across the last 1, 2, 3 tops. We got out over that as well. So here's the kind of thing that's kind of interesting, though, as we look at this, and as encouraging as it might be. And by the way, I did not buy here. I'm waiting for something a little bit clearer than just a bounce on a trend line. I would rather see a little bit more fuller blown pattern develop. And the reason is this. I suspect that this line right here, which was at one time our rising support line, I still think this line should serve as resistance, and I think the market has some more work to do before we really get a clear pattern that projects something other than a very short-term bounce. And what I'm looking at still is potentially a fairly large inverse head and shoulders pattern. And if that is the case, and if it is somewhat symmetrical, what we saw today would correspond to the levels we saw back in the second week of August. So in other words, if we are symmetrical and this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern, we will probably rally up, 20, 23 points, get up to the 1440s, probably meet resistance there, come back down, but probably not as low. So if we were to come here then come back down and start to turn around, I may buy that. But right now, I would like to see this pattern complete a little bit more, and hopefully we will this time. We've seen some inverted head and shoulders patterns that seem to not want to follow through with that right shoulder development. And remember, we were looking at this as being a left shoulder, this a head, and this a right shoulder. But I mentioned this breakout right here didn't really make me too happy because, for one thing, it didn't hold, it didn't stay above that neckline, and the second thing is we really didn't have enough of a right shoulder for that pattern to be at all symmetrical. So right now, if you say, Jim, just shut up and tell me where you think resistance and support might be, well, I think we would still see some resistance around 1440. Support probably about where we bounced, really around pretty close to this line right here. So I'm thinking support probably again around 1400. If we get a move up here and then a solid back test, we could get down a little bit lower. But you know, the way this potential inverted head and shoulders pattern might shape up, I kind of really don't expect that to take place. I'm kind of thinking we would maybe find support a little bit higher than where we found it today if this pattern pans out. So for now, I would call this black line here maybe as support level, and roughly maybe just call 1402, 1405, something like that. I don't have a real strong preference for it, to be honest with you. I don't see anything in here that really just screams out and says, here's why you should solidly expect support at any level. So I would say low 1400s. I would expect resistance on touching this rising line, and I would also expect resistance at this line around 1440. And then this is our potential neckline. Again, I want to stress that word potential, and that would be currently around the mid 1440s, but it is slightly down sloping. So again, just to make a long story short, let's see if this continues to develop as a potential inverted head and shoulders pattern, because if it does, it's got a pretty nice tradable event associated with it, and that would be a breakout targeting the mid to low 1530s. Probably we'll be looking at something around 1535, 1536, something like that, from this small pattern. So guys, that is the video for December 27th. Thanks for taking time out of your week to watch this. There will be a can't talk. There will be a weekend weekly review that will come out sometime over the weekend. I'm not sure exactly when. So look for that too. Thanks again. Take care.